Hello guys, welcome back. Today we are going to learn percentages. Very interesting concept. One of those concepts which you are going to use for the rest of your life. So let's jump into the video. Before we move ahead, let's pause for a moment and think about what we learned in the last video. If you haven't seen it, I'll request you to go and see it. It is one of the most complex concepts at an early school stage. Later on, obviously, you will find it easy, which is congruence of triangle. Under congruence, we learned the meaning of congruence of line segment angles, what is congruence of triangles, what are the criteria for congruence, and then why some of the other criteria is not basically the criteria for congruence. Okay, so if you haven't seen the video, please will request you to go to my channel. I've created a playlist grade 7. You can find the video there, or alternatively you could just jump into the video section on my channel and you can find the video congruence of triangles. Right, today we will learn percentages, and we will look at percentages through so many different lenses, and we will look at what percentage means and stuff. Meaning of percentage is very simple. Cent means 100, per means like each. Okay, so it basically means per 100, like for every 100 what is the value, that is a percentage. So if I say that if I'm sitting in a math exam and the full marks are 100 and I get 90, so I get 90% marks. It means I got 90 on 100. If I got 45 on 50, it also means the same thing in terms of percentage. It means 90. Why? Because if on 50 I got 45, then if the marks were to be 100, which is basically double of 50, it becomes 100. So double of 45 is 90, right? And that's in terms of percentage, my marks would be 90%, even though in terms of absolute, my marks would be 45 by 50. So percentage is a method, uh, using which we express value of something with respect to 100. Okay, that in comparison to 100, what is the value of this one? That is the meaning of percentage. And now let's look into the interrelation between percentage, fraction, decimal, ratio. They're all one and the same things, different ways of representing, and very quickly I will explain. So let's say 12% is nothing but 12 parts of 100. Okay, it is the same, which is nothing but 0.12. If you remember, fraction to decimal, decimal to fraction. If you do not remember or you've missed my video, please go. But if you're learning percentages, I'm assuming that this you would know by now. And in terms of ratio, it would mean 12 is to 100, right? Now I can further simplify this fraction. I know that this is not in its simplest form because there are a few common factors here. Divide by 4 or by 2, it will become 6 by 50, and then it will become 3 by 25. All these three are equivalent fractions and they are equal to 12%. Decimal will be like this, and the ratio can be expressed as 6 by 50 or 3 by 25, and all of them, my dear friends, they are one and the same things. In order to convert a percentage to a fraction, all you have to do is that leave the number as it is, remove the percentage and divide the number by 100. Why? Because it is 12%, which means 12 per 100, which means I have to divide it by 100, and that's exactly what I'm getting here. Okay, if I have to convert a fraction, therefore similarly in percentage, what do? I simply multiply. This by 100, I will get the percentage, right? So I will multiply it with 100 and I will get 12%, right? 100 will cancel. Are you getting it? So if it is 3 by 25, which is the simplest fraction, and so I multiply it by 100, so 25 4s and 12 3s 12% I get, right? It's just that I have to attach the sign of percent then. Okay, it's just the reverse process, and I hope you understood why the process is reversed, because when I'm converting 12% to a fraction, what I am doing is, no, I'm not doing it. I mean, that's the meaning of it. 12% is 12 parts of 100. So it is 12 by 100. That's the definition of a fraction. Similarly, decimal to percentage, once again the same thing, because fraction and decimal is the same thing. Multiply by 100, finish it off. Ratio to percentage, convert the ratio into a fraction or a decimal and then multiply by 100, get a percentage. From percentage to ratio, convert it into a fraction like this, put it in the simplest form like this or not, up to you, and then write it like a ratio, guys. End of the story. They're all cousins, they're all speaking the same language, so please do not get confused. Interpreting percentage, how many? Okay, so for example, we can say that there are 780 students in a school. Okay, and then we can say that out of these 780 students, 15%, okay, are boys, right? So what is the number of boys in the school? So it basically is 15% of 780, right? And if you remember, I taught you that whenever you get an off in a mathematical operation like this, basically just replace it with a multiplication sign and you have it. So it is 15% still. Now let's convert it into a fraction, which is 15 by 100 and 780, right? 1 0 and 1 0, we will cancel it right here. Let's divide by 5, okay, and then let's divide by 2. 78, it's an even number, it will get divided by 2 and it will be 39. And 39, now we will do 39 into 3, which is 117. So 117 students are boys in the school. So that answers how many? That if 15% of students are boys, then how many are boys? So that's one interpretation. Let's move to the other one, which is successive ratios. Let me tell you what successive ratios are. We have learned A is to B equal to 2 is to 3. And then what if I have another guy C and say that B is to C is let's say 1 is to 2. So what is A is to B is to C? These are successive ratios, right? And in successive ratios, it's very simple to find out. A is to B, I can write it as A by B equal to 2 by 3, right? So I can write 3A is equal to 2B, right? Similarly, I can write here B by C is equal to 1 by 2, and I can therefore write C is equal to 2B. Okay, so C is equal to 2B and 2B is equal to 3A. So A is to B is to C. What do I get? A is to B is to C. C I can write as 2B, right? So that is the successive ratio, okay, because C is equal to 2B. Now I know that 2B is equal to 3A also, so I can write it as 3A as well. Okay, I can write it as 3A as well. But let's first learn it like this and then I will bring this one. So A is to B is to 2B. Now A is to B, now I have converted basically this from 3 distinct units to now 2 distinct units. So now A is to B is to C is nothing but A is to B is to 2B. So A is to B is how much? It is 2 is to 3. Now this will be 2B, but B is 3, so it will be 6. So that will be the ratio. Okay. Similarly, if I had to use this relationship, okay, A is to B is to C. Okay, now I know that 3A equal to 2B. So let's first write this. A is to B is to 2B using this one, right? But I also know that 2B is equal to 3A. So 2B is, I can write it as A is to B is to 3A. Okay, and A is to B is how much? A is to B is 2 is to 3. And when I say 3a, so basically a, what is the corresponding value of a here? It is 2, right? So this will be 3 into 2. So 3 into 2 is what? 6. I still get the same thing. So now you see we're still getting the same thing, and obviously we will. And that's how we find successive ratios. So basically this tells us a direct comparison between 3 things instead of 2 things, and we can find out the successive ratios for 3 things, 4 things, 5 things, 10 things. We just need to know how they are interrelated, like how we knew here. Now you must be thinking that what does this have to do with percentage? So yes, it has something to do with percentage. Now see, generally when we said A is to B, I will say that A is what? 40% here, right? And B is what? 60% here. How? Because A is, if A is to B is 2 by 3, A is 2 by 5, 3 plus 2 is equal to, there are total 5 parts, out of which A is 2 parts and B is 3 parts. So 2 by 5 in terms of percentage is 40%. Yeah, we simply multiply by 100 like how we learned, and then this will be 40%. Similarly, if it is 40%, this will be 60%, or I can say 3 by 5 into 100 is 60%. But now when I have 3 ABC to compare, then I have more units. So basically total how many parts? 6 plus 3 9, 9 plus 2 11. For the sake of simplicity, let's say that if I have a ratio A is to B is to C as 1 is to 3 is to 6, right? So that it is 10 parts and calculation will be easy. So A is what? 1 by 10, B is what? 3 by 10, and C is what? 6 by 10, right? So A is what? 10%, B is what? 30%, and C is what? 60%. Now you say, where do I use it? Yes, you will use it in questions like that. If A, B, C started a business, okay, where they invested money in this ratio of 1 is to 3 is to 6, and now they are making a profit of, let's say, 200 rupees. So who gets what amount of profit? So then basically you will do this, and then you will do this, and then you will say that A will get 10% of the profit. So A will get 10% of 200, B will get 30% of 200, C will get 60% of 200. Yeah, so that's one more interpretation. Interpreting percentage in terms of increase decrease, simple. So for example, let's say temperature in the month of August is 35 and it increases to 40 degree in the month of September. So they will ask you that what is the percentage increase in temperature, right? So the absolute increase is 5 degrees, and therefore the percentage increase will be 5 by 35 into 100, because it is a fraction, you have to convert it into percentage. So we multiply by 100, it becomes 1 by 7 into 100, which I think roughly should be equal to 12 point something, if I'm not mistaken. Oh sorry, 14 point something percentage. You do the exact calculation, guys. Okay, now why I have put 35 in the base? Because see, I am talking about increase in temperature here. Okay, so the temperature was 35 and it increased to 40, so I will compare with the base of 35. If the question was on decrease of temperature from September to August, then I would have compared on the base of 40, because temperature was 40 and from 40 it decreased to 35. So if somebody asked me that what would be the temperature decrease if the temperature dropped from 40 to 35, then I would say yes, 5 by 40, because initial temperature was 40 and it has decreased. So I will compare on the base of 40 and then I will multiply with 100. Okay, and then I will get about 12.5% decrease in temperature. So that's another interpretation. Let's move into profit and loss. A lot of questions are being basically asked on profit and loss using the concept of percentage. You will see a lot of books basically creating a different chapter on profit and loss. No need. All you need to know is the concept of percentage, and that's all. So profit and loss is very simple. You buy something at a price X, then you sell something at a price Y. If you sell it at a higher price, you make profit. If you sell it at a lower price, you make loss. That's it. That is profit and loss. There is nothing else in profit and loss. And what would you tell me now, if I had to if I had to calculate the profit percentage, let's say I buy something for 40 rupees and I sell it for 45 rupees. So uh, whatever is the buy price is known as CP, cost price, okay, and whatever price we sell it at is called SP, which is selling price. Okay, so there is a profit here, right? There is a profit of 5 rupees. Now if I were to ask what is my percentage profit, will I do 5 by 40 or will I do 5 by 45? Is it not very simple? Is that I bought it for 40 rupees and now I am selling it for 45, so I have increased from where? What is my base? 40 rupees is my base, right? I bought it for 40 and now I am selling it 5 rupees from 40, right? So my profit percentage will be on 40 rupees, not on 45 rupees, है ना? So I will do this 5 by 40 into 100 and I will get my profit percentage, right? Now if I sell at a price of 30 rupees, um, so I make a loss of 10 rupees. Now my loss also, I will compare the percentage of loss on 40 rupees, because I bought it for 40 but now I am selling it off at 30, but this loss I have made on 40 rupees base, right? I have not made this loss on 30 rupees base. So my percentage will be that I invested 40 rupees and from that I lost 10 rupees. So it should be a percentage of what I invested, not what I sold it on. So it should be 10 by 40 into 100, right? And it will come out to 25%. So I made 25% loss. Very simple. And a good way to look at it is, these are simple things. 40, you know that there are 4 parts of 40, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and I lost 10. So I lost 1/4, which is 25% or 0.25. So that's how I will calculate the loss. See, with numbers, what happens is that you have to keep your eyes open. You have to see, you have to find a pattern in numbers. Same 40 can be divided into 10 equal parts of 4 each. So if you have a 8 rupee loss, you know that you have lost 2 parts of 40, which is 20%, because there are total 10 parts, out of which you lost 2 parts, right? So 2 on 10 is what? 20%. So you made a 20% loss. Or if you gain 2 parts, then you made a, but what is the value of 2 parts? It will be 8, right? So 4 into 10, the 40 can be divided into 10 equal parts of 4, and then 8 rupees is like 2 parts of those 10 parts, right? So up to you, how do you play with numbers? Nobody can teach you to play with numbers, but you will have to keep your ears and eyes open to, the more time you spend basically with numbers, better you get. This is one last concept and simple. We will do some problems, but we will do it in the next one, and I will also teach you some cool shortcuts on percentage. I think since we are doing it, it's good to know. Simple interest is that when we give or we lend money to someone, lend money, yeah, or when we borrow money. Now what is the difference? Lend is like I have money and I give it to you, that is lending. What is borrow money? I don't have money and I take it from you, so I borrow money from you. That's the difference. Okay? English words, lend is to give, borrow is to take. That's it. Now what happens in the market is that whenever you take a loan from the market, from the bank, from a guy, they charge you some interest. They will not just give you the money. So if they give you 100 rupees, they will say that obviously you will return me 100 rupees, but because I have given you money when you needed it, you will also give me some fee just because I gave you this money right now. Okay, so they will charge some interest, and interest is expressed as a percentage of the total money that you gave to that guy. So if I took 500 rupees loan from bank, okay, and the rate of interest was 10%, okay, rate of interest was 10%, uh, and I took it for 2 years, which means that I had to return the money after 2 years. So I will not just return 500 rupees, no. So I will obviously return 500 rupees, but not just 500. I will return a little bit more. So I will return with interest. Okay. So what is the interest? It is 10% per annum. What is per annum? Every year I have to pay 10% interest. So which means that how much I pay in 1 year? I pay 10% of 500, which is 50 rupees. You do the calculation, guys. Okay, that is the interest I give in first year, but I am returning the money after 2 years. So second year also I will give interest. Once again I will give 10% of 500, again 50 rupees. So total interest paid is 100 rupees, plus the initial amount is 500. So after 2 years I will return 600. That is simple interest. Okay, that's the concept of simple interest. Now for this, a lot of books, they will create formula. Okay, they will create formula, and I will tell you what the formula is, don't worry. So the amount which is borrowed or lent, it is called principal. Principal. Okay, and generally it is denoted by capital P. Rate of interest is I. If it is per annum, then no worries. If it is quarterly, then divided by 4. If it is half yearly or semi annually, then divided by 2. Okay, it's known as R. Yeah, I think it is known as R. In maths books, you will see that they will call it a rate of interest. This is time. In how much time are you to give the money back? So just make sure that whatever is the time, your rate of interest should be the same in terms of time. I will tell you what it means. So if you have to return the money after 2 years, so if your time is in years, your rate of interest should also reflect the rate of interest for the year. है ना? Like if it is quarterly, it means quarter is 3 months. Because quarter is 3 months and year is 12 months, which is why I asked you to divide then the rate of interest by 4. Okay, because quarter is 3 months, so we are only talking of 1/4 of the year. So just keep an eye open to make sure that your rate of interest is expressed per quantum of time, and the same quantum or unit of time you are using here also. Okay, so this is known as time. And then the simple interest, this is the simple interest, this 100 rupees that we calculated is calculated as n into PRT by 100. N, no n, we already put. So what is this? P 500, R is this, time is 2 by 100. Why 100? I will tell you. So P is 500, rate of interest is 10. Here we don't write as 10%, we just write as 10, take the numeric value. Time is 2 years, and because it is actually a percentage, we write 100 below. So we get, as you can see, we get 100, which basically we calculated by simply saying 10% of 500 in the first year, 10% of 500 in the second year, You should know the formula, but you should know how the formula was made. Basically, formula was made that if you had to do it for 10 years, 20 years, then you simply multiply. That's why. And then you add it with the principal. So that's the total payable amount after the tenure of the loan is completed. So these are the different interpretations. I didn't realize that the video will become so long. So I'm going to stop here right now. I've given you the basic concept of percentage, and I've given you the basic interpretations in which mathematics uses percentage, at least at this stage of your learning. I have a few questions that I will solve in the next video, and I will also give you certain tricks around using percentages and stuff like that, like some cool calculation tips on percentage. So how to convert when you see a fraction, what does it mean in terms of percentage and vice versa, and things like that. Not only will it help you in quick calculations, it will also help you up when you are taking up aptitude examinations years later, when you're writing any these kind of exams like CAT, etc., MBA entrances and stuff. So far for this video, guys, I hope you enjoyed it, and this is where I'm going to end it. Thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope that you were benefited from it, and if you were, please feel free to share it with students and parents and teachers, or with anyone that you feel might be benefited from the video. The whole idea is to make sure that to ensure that quality education is commonplace. See you.